Yo guys, we are back, we being me and Ada. She's so happy to be here today for another vlog. And today, as you will have known because you clicked on this due to the title, I imagine, we're going to be running through the comparison of my before and after of my mini cut, where I lost just over 10 pounds actually across it, which is crazy, in a little bit over 4 weeks. I'm going to run you over kind of what I did with my calories, what I did with my training, and how that all looked. And the purpose of the mini cut for me was, obviously, a lot of people do it to reduce their body fat and to give them more runway for their massing so that they're not getting to a level of body fat that doesn't make sense for their goals. But for me, it was largely done to, one, rebound my appetite. And I can tell you now, as I'm like 2 weeks post mini cut, my appetite is in a really good place and it's very nice. Food is easy to eat. And then also to improve my well-being and sense of well-being. I think appetite and my well-being are somewhat tied. My digestion just goes really in the sink and in the gutter. It's not in a good way, and I just don't feel the best. I don't sleep the best, and all of those markers have improved as well. So yeah, let's run through the comparison and I'll overview a little bit of the way that I approached my nutrition and training. So on the left here, you can see me kind of peak mass, as it were, 196 pounds. Before my last mini cut, I was a little lighter than this. I hit a peak mass body weight of 197 pounds, whereas previously I was at 195. It's been, I don't know, 5 months or so since I did my last mini cut, so there was a chunk of time that went by. Time really goes quickly. But you can see how much I've tightened up left to right. It kind of shocks me putting these side by side where, yeah, I mean, it's quite literally just removing the body fat, all the muscles right there, and that also is indicated through my training performance. And also, guys, this was just over 4 weeks. I shouldn't be losing, no one should be losing any muscle mass during that period of time. So yeah, if your performance is in the gutter or anything like that, I would revisit your training and also your nutrition and everything, all the practices that are going to go into recovery and performance. So for the calories, they were the same the entire time, 2,500 the entire time. Bear in mind, I mass on 4,000 plus calories, so my maintenance is very high, and I entered over 1,000 calorie deficit, you could say, which is kind of obvious given I lost over 10 pounds just. My steps were in and around 13,000, so decent. Having a dog helps. I did no cardio apart from playing with Ada now and then, who is my dog who I was sat with. But yeah, no formal cardio. And then I maintained my training at 6 times per week. But my set volumes were static throughout at what I would call the minimum effective volume. So my typical week 1 volumes for any kind of hypertrophy mass phase, that's where my set numbers stayed. And then each week, well, week 1, I left some reps in reserve, didn't take it too hard, but obviously trained hard enough to kind of meet thresholds for growth. But then each week I progressed where I felt it was reasonable to. I just didn't rush progressions. I didn't stress about trying to add a rep or trying to add load. I just kind of took it as it come. And if it was easy to progress, I took it. If it wasn't, I was just like, cool. In a mini cut, fatigue is super high. So you could even see your reps in reserve. You could approach failure week on week while seeing the same performance. So 100 by 10 week 1. In week 3, 100 by 10 could literally be like 2 RAR where it was once 4. Just because the fatigue can be quite high due to being in a severe calorie deficit. But that's the whole point. Get in and out as soon as possible. So long as you aren't seeing your performance objectively drop off, I think you're just fine. Don't rush performance improvements like you're in a mass, because you can get into this and you can be like still feeling pretty darn good coming off your deload from massing, but that's quickly going to run down. So don't push yourself too hard from the get-go. So yeah, that's kind of how it all went, and this is the side-by-side comparison, which I think is very telling, and I'm really happy with how it's looking and how it all went. So as you saw, some significant changes in my physique in terms of just like taking off that layer of body fat, which was nice and revealing actually. One of the things that I've been really prioritizing is my side delts, so lateral delts, and that's just through exercise order, exercise selection, and also volume. Just almost specializing on them. And I think it really has started to show. I even noticed as I was like dieting and the body fat was coming off, and I'd look in the mirror and I was like, oh man, I look wider than I normally do. So I was really pleased to see that. And ultimately my appetite came back firing on all cylinders, which is great. Well-being was back, and my performance in the gym has just improved as well. And that's ultimately the most important thing for growing muscle, is your performance in the gym. And so if a mini cut's going to help propel that, you should absolutely be taking one. So if you need help at all periodizing like your muscle gain phases in terms of massing to mini cutting to potentially active rest, maintenance periods, or even like a contest prep, if you need help with that, if you feel a bit lost, at Revive Stronger, we're an online coaching service. So as always, if you are interested in that, you can always hop on a call with us and we can talk about what we could do to help you. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have any questions about mini cutting, do post them below. And we do have our blog post, the Mini Cut Manual, I believe it's called, which you can probably Google and find pretty readily. And there's a bunch of information in there too. Otherwise, guys, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Me and Ada.